everyone, it's Julia. I found this placemat at a yard sale and I thought it's going to make a cute little clutch. And so that is what I'm going to do for this week's project. I do have this piece that was just in my stash that I'm going to use for the lining, and then the little wristlet strap, and then another piece that I'm going to use just for some embellishments. I wanted to take a moment and just talk about the Heat and Bond lights that I use a lot. Almost every week I use these products. One is an Ultra Hold, the one that's in the red, and then the pinkish or purplish package is the Heat and Bond light. And I use them for different things. The Heat and Bond light I like to use for to iron on the back of an embellishment, for adhering it onto my fabrics that I will later sew and do decorative stitches on, zigzag, applique stitch, free motion stitch, that type of thing. Where the Ultra Hold, actually turns it into more of a patch, gives it some real stiffness. And I don't like to stitch through it. I do straight stitch through it, but I do not like to do any decorative stitching or anything like that. It tends to gum up your needle. And so if you do happen, like in this project, I am going to be doing some straight stitching on the Ultra Hold Heat and Bond. And I'd have no problems with my machine, but if you do have like thread breaking, I would clean my needle with a piece, maybe some rubbing alcohol on a little piece of cotton ball or something. Just keep that handy at your sewing machine and periodically clean off your needle. That'll usually be all you need to do to stitch this. And like I said, I only do the straight stitch, and I try to do very little stitching, as little stitching as possible. So I just wanted to take a moment and explain all that to you. Now on to the project. Now I added that Heat and Bond Ultra Hold to the back of the lining because I do want it to be a little bit stiffer. This fabric on this placemat doesn't have a lot of structure, so I'm going to make it have more structure with the lining. I have all these little pieces. Every time I use Heat and Bond light and I have any scraps left, I cut them out and stick them in that little container. And I'm pulling out some things that I'm thinking I'm going to be using. I'm going to use that stamped floral piece to cover up the snap. And then that lace, I just feel that I don't like that edge. And so I'm going to cover that edge with a piece of lace. I'm cutting out some of these little circles, and I'm going to add just a tiny one to the center of that flower, just to try to tie it all together a little bit. Now this piece here is the one that has the Heat and Bond light attached or adhered to the back of it, and I'm just cutting out some of those circles just to add to my embellishments that I'm going to put on later. First I want to put this snap in the center. I'm just marking it there, and then I take my seam ripper and just get those holes in there. And then to get those prongs bent, I'm just hammering them down. You can use like a needle nose pliers or something too. So that part of my snap is in, and the other part will be attached after the lining is in. Just doing some ironing here, pressing that lace down, and then also pressing this strap. Now this strap is measured 3 inches wide by 18 inches long. And I'm going to be using 3/4 inch hardware. So you need a 3-inch wide strap. The D-ring is 3/4 of an inch, and also the swivel hook that I will be using. Now to my sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch, just a straight stitch that strap, and then also attach my lace. For the lace, I am attaching that to the underside first, just with a straight stitch, and then I'll be folding that over the edge and then stitching it from the right side. And that's going to just enclose that bottom or that edge there. This particular fabric is interesting. That is this placemat. It looks like an upholstery fabric, but it doesn't have a lot of structure to it. and I really like the geometric shapes on it. So I'm going to, when I do my embellishing, I'm going to just go with those geometric shapes and just add more. And also, I really like the brown colors too, but I'm going to add more color in with greens. I just need, it needs something. It needs some color. Added that little circle to this little flower, and I'm going to attach that first and then thread doodle on some of these little petals just to add some stitched interest to this. I can't do that after I iron it on because it's on top of this little, it's going to break my needle because it's covering up this little snap. Removing that paper, and then I'm just going to lay things out. And again, adding some green and adding some color to this, but sticking with the geometric shapes. And then removing that paper back as I go. Once everything is how I want it, I'm just going to press that just to activate that glue. And then it's over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to free motion stitch these little pieces on. Now I'm just going to use a dark brown thread for this, and I have my feed dogs dropped, and I have my free motion foot on. So I'm just outlining these and adding a little bit of doodling as I go. I kind of enhance some of the little geometric shapes. You can't really see it there, but when I flip it over, you're going to see more of the stitching that I put on here with the dark brown thread. And I also added that little flower. I just thought that was kind of cute there. Now I'm going back to my sewing machine, and I'm going to do some decorative stitching with this teal color thread. Just again, adding a little bit more color to this. And I just love, here now you can see it. I didn't show it at my sewing machine, but I just put a lot of little decorative stitches in there. And you can see them on the back side too. Time for the lining. I'm folding over the edges. This lining was cut the same dimension as that placemat. But the Heat and Bond Ultra Hold, I cut a little bit shorter and about a ½ inch or so on both sides, so I can fold over the edges. I'm just removing this paper. I should have let it cool a little bit. The paper rips here. But I want to make a comment on, you do not want your iron to touch this Ultra Hold. It's just a mess. And so I am laying that piece of paper that I just ripped off over the top of this while I iron these, and I'm just securing that fold over edge really tight. So everything is finished off now on the edges on this lining. I lay this over here and then realized I should have put my snap on at a different time. When I do this, I never followed any sort of directions. I always just fly by the seat of my pants, and sometimes that's what happens. So I cut that lining away from that snap, and it's fine. It's going to, really, this Ultra Hold really does hold. And so even around that snap, I'm just going to really press it really good, and it'll hold really well around that snap. Putting that other side of the zipper or that snap in now underneath my lining. And then I'm going to attach this with my iron, just really activating that glue. And like I said, it holds really well, and then it's also going to add some structure to this piece. And then I'm taking this to my sewing machine, and I'm going to straight stitch all the way around with brown thread on the top, brown thread on the bottom. And you don't, like I said, I had no problem stitching this, but if you do, clean your needle. onto the strap, I'm cutting a little bit of this off for my D-ring. Approximately 2 inches of that strap I use for my D-ring, and I'm just going to attach that right there. Just take it to my sewing machine and go back and forth. And then on the strap itself, first I'm going to add another piece of lace. I didn't like some of the stitching on the sides of this, so I'm putting a piece of lace on the inside, just covering it up. Like I said, flying by the seat of my pants here. But sometimes those mistakes add to another little detail that I would not have thought about. And putting that lace on the inside of the flap there is really a cute little detail. And plus it covers up my boo-boo. So I'm going to attach that little D-ring, and I'm going to really attach my sides, or just sew my sides up, and then do my little swivel hook. And this is how it turned out. It's like a really neat little envelope type clutch. I hope you enjoyed this, everybody. I'm sharing some pictures at the end here. I hope you have a great week. I hope you have a chance to create. Bye for now.